pun, the low-hanging fruit in this topic is type 2 diabetes. It literally is. So that's the extreme situation where the system has exhausted all of its mechanisms for getting rid of glucose out of the bloodstream, whether it's type 1, type 2. So when you eat glucose, then you actually got to take medicine to actually get it out of the bloodstream. So there's medications which push it into the tissue. There's medications which stop you absorbing it. There's medications which actually make you pee it out more through the kidneys. And there's some that bind it in the bowel. So all of those medications have complications and side effects. But the simplest thing is, if you don't eat the carbohydrate, you don't need to have the medication. And one of those things about in that talk, and I go through it in some length, is there is not a single biochemical pathway in the body that requires us to ingest glucose. We need to have a balanced diet which contains essential proteins, essential fats, micronutrients, and vitamins, but there is not a single requirement for glucose nor fructose. Bearing in mind, even if you're a carnivore, you're still going to get a tiny little bit of glucose, of carbohydrate. But if we're coming down to biochemistry, there is not a single requirement. So whenever the figure of 130 grams of glucose, of carbohydrate per day, is just literally plucked out of the air. There was no scientific basis behind it. And so therefore I'm controversial, because I say, well, actually there's zero requirement. But it's no longer me alone. But when I started talking about this, then I was clearly the nutter from Tasmania. And but luckily, just very luckily, I'm actually an orthopedic surgeon. So orthopedic surgeons are known for their arrogance. On this topic, I knew I was right. I knew the health benefits for myself. I started learning more about the biochemistry. Most importantly, I could see the health benefits for my family and my patients. I've been fortunate enough to help other colleagues in different countries. I'm helping someone in an Asian country at the moment. I won't mention his name because we're in the midst of a bit of a battle. It's just amazing how much trouble you're getting into for actually helping your patients. My example, I got reported to the medical board 3 times by different dietitians. But one of the occasions, one of the claims against me, that I'd inappropriately reversed someone's type 2 diabetes on national TV. It was inappropriate to do it. Not that I did it, just it was inappropriate. And I'm not making this, and you can put beep across there, but this is actually what happened. And so the more trouble I was getting into, the times I was getting reported to the medical board, I actually thought this is a joke. I know that when I started on social media, within 24 hours, I was targeted by someone who worked for Coca-Cola when I started talking about the perils of sugar. And I've been targeted by the cereal industry, the pharmaceutical industry. In some respects, it's scary, and the other bits, as Belinda says, she says, he's just an orthopedic surgeon in the backwater of the world called Tasmania. And at the time I was getting targeted, I think I don't know, 1,000 people following me on social media, which, is nothing. I was one of the first doctors and surgeons to start talking about it and saying, actually, I'm sick and tired of amputating limbs and chopping off bits of feet. And the cause of that is too much sugar and carbs.